Have you ever met someone who claims to be an expert on everything? You know the type. They have all the answers. They can solve any problem, but when you look at their own life, it's a bit of a mess. This reminds me of a classic old story, one that teaches a timeless lesson about credibility and self-improvement. Let's dive into the tale of the Quack Toad. Once upon a time, deep in a lush, green marsh, lived a rather ordinary-looking toad, but this toad had extraordinary ambitions. One sunny morning he puffed out his chest, hopped onto a large lily pad, and made a grand announcement to all his neighbors. Hear thee, he croaked in his loudest voice. I am a learned doctor. My knowledge is vast, my skills are unmatched. I can cure any ailment, from a frog's sore throat to a beetle's bad back. There is no sickness I cannot heal. The news spread like ripples in a pond. Animals from all over the marsh gathered around, chattering with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. A field mouse with a limp, a dragonfly with a bent wing, they all listened as the toad boasted about his miraculous cures. He spoke of rare herbs he'd discovered and powerful potions he could brew. He made it sound so convincing that some of the simpler creatures began to believe him. Now, living nearby was a clever old fox. The fox had seen many things in his long life and had a sharp eye for spotting a fraud. When he heard the toad's sensational claims, his ears twitched. A doctor who can cure anything? He mused to himself. This I have to see. So the fox trotted down to the marsh to observe this supposed medical genius for himself. He found the toad in the middle of a crowd, still going on about his incredible healing powers. The fox didn't interrupt. Instead, he just watched, his keen eyes taking in every detail. He saw the toad's skin, which was covered in blotches and warts. He noticed the way the toad moved, a clumsy, stiff-legged hop, a clear sign of a rheumatic gait. The fox circled the lily pad, looking the toad over from head to toe, a sly smile playing on his lips. After a few minutes, the fox cleared his throat, and a hush fell over the crowd. All eyes turned to him. He addressed the toad in a voice that was polite but carried a sharp edge. Mr. Toad, he began, I've heard wonderful things about you. They say you are a masterful doctor, capable of curing any affliction. The toad, puffed up with pride, puffed up even more. That's right, he croaked. There is no disease beyond my cure, the fox nodded slowly. That is truly remarkable, he said. But before you start treating others, I have a simple suggestion. Why don't you take a good long look at yourself? If you are as powerful as you say, surely you can do something about your own blotchy skin. And perhaps you could use one of your famous remedies to fix that stiff, awkward way you hop. The fox paused, letting his words sink in. He looked around at the other animals, then back at the stunned toad. Because, you see, he continued, if you can successfully cure yourself, then we might all have a reason to believe in your great skill. But until then, if you can't even fix your own problems, perhaps you should consider a different line of work. A wave of murmurs went through the crowd as the animals started to see the fox's point. They looked at the toad's warty skin and his clumsy movements, and then they looked at each other. The toad, for the first time, was speechless. His face turned a shade of green that had nothing to do with his natural color. He had been so busy trying to convince others of his greatness that he'd completely overlooked his own flaws. The moral of this story is simple yet profound. Physician, heal thyself. Or, in other words, those who want to fix others should first take a good look in the mirror. It's easy to give advice and point out the faults in everyone else. But true credibility comes from demonstrating that you can apply that same wisdom to your own life. Whether it's in leadership, relationships, or personal development, leading by example is always the most powerful way to make an impact. Before you try to change the world, start with yourself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and its lesson, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. See you in the next video.